Guys, what's up? This is Casey,
And Coach Tom.
and this is Shot Science Overtime number 185.
Oh, boy.
Getting up there. So, just want to let you guys know that this is our live show. So, this is not like a tutorial. This is not a short video. This is where we hang out with you guys, like Clinton, who's first, Adam Muhammad saying, "What's up?" We hang out with you guys for about an hour, and we answer your questions, and we also cover a topic that we think is something that will help you guys become a better basketball player, maybe cut out some of your, learning curve a little bit. Yeah. Zachary Griffith, India Davis, what's going on, you guys? Glad to have you here right here early. Awesome. So remember that this is about an hour long. If this isn't for you, you can get out now. That's totally cool. Go watch one of our other videos, and that's awesome. But right now, we want to have a live show where we start off with a topic that we think is going to help you guys become a better basketball player, maybe give you some insight that will help you in that path. Then while we're doing that, you guys are sending us your questions. So anything basketball related, shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, how to talk to your coach, athleticism, vertical jump, whatever it is, send it our way, and we'll do our best to get back to you guys on an answer for those things. Mm-hmm. So go out there and check that out. Check out all of our social media stuff. We're Shot Science on everything, whether that's Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. We do different things in all those different places, and we'd love to have you guys there. If you guys would go check out shotscience.com, that would be super cool. That's where you get like all of our gear, like Shot Science gear, like the shirts. You can also pick up the jump box, which is the athletic vertical jump training kit that has all of the goodies in it that we think is important to help your training. You can also sign up for the All Access Pass that gives you more in-depth kind of deconstruction of all of the skills related to basketball that you might not find on our YouTube channel. So check out that stuff, shotscience.com. Also wanted to say what's up to first name, last name, Gabrunas Boston. What's going on, everybody that's in the chat? Cool. So make sure you guys are sending us those messages, and we're going to jump into our discussion right now, right?
Yes, we're going to do that.
So what are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about how to get more playing time.
And we've talked about it before.
Yeah, we have.
But we want to retouch it a little bit.
I think it's really important for players to kind of understand whether it's football or basketball or whatever the sport happens to be, the fact that if you've got a limited number of spots to play on the team, like in basketball, there's only 5 spots, and you've got 10 to 12, maybe more than that, players that are on the team. And so obviously those players are not going to get a chance to play or some aren't going to be able to play quite as much. One of the things that's been swirling around basketball, at least here in our part of California the last few weeks, is that we've had some very successful coaches who've been let go. And the upshot of it is that parents are really concerned about playing time mostly. There are other issues probably, but...
Well, every kid thinks that they should be playing more if they're not playing the entire game.
Yeah.
And every parent thinks that to the next level.
Well, yeah. And
these days at least.
Yeah. And reality of it is, I have to tell you that when I was a kid, I don't think my father ever went to a basketball game. It wasn't because he didn't like basketball or wasn't interested in what I was doing. His job kept him from getting off until it was kind of late in the evening, and so he didn't feel like going. He'd go to football games once in a while. But the upshot of it is that one of the things that needs to happen if you want more playing time for yourself, here are some guidelines that we think probably would really help you a lot.
Yeah, and number one is not complain and whine and feel pity for yourself.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing to do.
Well, and to be honest with you there, I was in that place when I was in high school. On a couple of teams, I felt like what's the use? I'm not getting a chance to play, and so maybe I should just cash it in. And fortunately, I had a good buddy who just kind of said, no, you can't do that. And I said, well, if I don't get to play this week, then probably that's what I'm going to do. And it didn't have anything to do with my parents or anything like that. But he went to the coach instead of me. He went to the coach and said, Curtis is going to bail if he doesn't get a chance to play. And so it was kind of funny. It was football, and I was a junior in high school, and had been standing around watching for the first couple of games. And what happened is the coach thought, okay, we'll teach this guy a lesson. And so what he did is he had me play defense, and he put this big, strong fullback in, and they ran a play that they planned to run right over me. Well, fortunately, what happened is I was able to deal with, they were going to double team me too. I was able to deal and get off of both of them, and I hit the fullback behind the line of scrimmage and put him right over on his back. Now, probably because I had all of this adrenaline pumping, that I was so hyped up over it, I just blew through there and hit him.
But I mean,
Hang on. The thing that came out of that, though, is there was an opportunity for me to get to play and play regular after that, because they didn't have much confidence in me for whatever reason. But here's the thing that you need to do. Number one, I'll give you a shot here.
That's what I was going to say, is that it's all about the opportunity. It's
Yeah.
like if you're spending your time whining, complaining, and then you get that opportunity, that might be the only chance you get.
Exactly right, and you want to take advantage of it. It had a similar situation in basketball, but I'm not going to go through that. But it worked out in my favor as well. And it won't always work out in your favor. But
positivity and positive outlooks get more opportunities than negative Nancy outlooks.
Yeah, well, being a coach myself for so many years, I have counseled players, I've worked with players, I've listened to them while they kind of explain why they think they're not being treated fairly and whatnot, and we really worked on it, and we're able to most all of them were able to kind of feather them into the flow, and they got better, and so that's a part of it as well. So there's some things that are really important, I think, for players to understand. Now, we're not going to say much about parents because, well, maybe just one thing or two. Parents today have gotten involved in what is happening with their players, whether they be boys or girls, young or old or whatever, and they can't take the fact that their kid is not playing as much as they think he should be. Well, in reality, those parents aren't at practice every day. They don't know if their son or daughter is really practicing and playing really hard every day. They don't know that their son or daughter is paying attention to all of the instruction and the drills that are taking place, or whether they're screwing off with their friends. Those parents don't know that that the coach doesn't feel like they are really listening when he's giving instructions. And so the whole thing here becomes very out of sorts. But here's the thing that's important for you as a player, because today I think we're talking mostly to players, maybe a few parents here and there. But the idea is, number one, make sure you're at every practice. And sometimes it's going to happen where maybe you have something special at school that you have to deal with. You go to the coach, you explain to him what's happening. You don't just not show up. A not show up is a real black mark against you as a player.
Well, I would say attend every practice, but that also means you don't show up as practice is starting and then leave as soon as it's over either. If you really want to impress a coach, and probably set an example for your team, show up early.
Exactly.
Be the person that's out there getting warm, that's shooting, maybe you can get up 100 shots before practice even starts. And then be the one that, if the gym is still open after practice, maybe you take a little bit of time and you do some more on your own.
Yes, exactly.
Coaches are not, they're not dumb. They're not robots that switch on and off as soon as practice starts and stops. They see that stuff.
Yeah. They do.
Just like they see that kid that was there in the summertime working on their game. Just like they see the kid that came to their office and talked to them about what they could do to be better and fit in as part of the team. There's so many things that you can do that really resonate with coaches.
Oh, it's really the truth. And coaches genuinely like their players most of the time. You may, from time to time as a coach, have one or two players whom are not very stellar individuals. They create problems. They're not easy to like, but you have to deal with them anyway. Okay, so the next thing that we want to talk about is, don't be afraid to talk to your coach. If you're not familiar with that coach, let's say it's the first time that you've had any association with him, what you need to understand is most all the people that are involved in coaching are good guys. They're not,
or ladies.
Or ladies. And the thing that's important is that they don't get paid a ton of money to do that coaching. There's a little bit of ego involved in it, certainly, but there's also an awful lot of interest in helping people to learn and develop. And so that's kind of the mission of coaches.
Well, and you shouldn't be scared to talk to your
Right,
coach.
right.
There are coaches that are a little bit more hardline than the other ones. There's some that are a little bit more vocal, intimidating, whatever. But you need to get over that.
Yeah.
And it will help you in life just to be able to go out and talk to your coach. And the one thing that you want to do is not be about you, but be about your team, be about how you can better help serve your team or help develop that more as a player that will work with the team or whatever. That kind of stuff shows leadership, and coaches really like that kind of stuff.
They do. One of the things that I started doing, and I don't know when, but, when the players would come on into the gymnasium, they're getting the shoes on, they're getting ready to go, is I'll go over and I'll kid them a little bit, and, maybe I'll give them a hard time about their girlfriend or some other little thing that we can kind of connect on with fist bump and that sort of thing. And surprisingly, what happens is that they begin to trust you an awful lot more, and they will come and talk to you too a lot easier. And one of the things that happens out of this is I found that at the end of practice, there's a line of guys there come by to thank you for your, what you helped them with, and see you tomorrow, coach.
Yep.
And that all is really good stuff, because then you get on the right wavelength with the coach, where he just feels comfortable in talking to you and you feel comfortable talking to him. Okay, now the next thing we're going to go on to is this. For you to expect to get a chance to play, you need to work on and know your game. Some people don't spend much time in the off season developing their game, and then the season rolls around and things get underway, and you're lagging behind because you haven't spent very much time.
Yeah, I mean, your basketball season shouldn't start when tryouts start.
Yeah.
You pick up the basketball and then end as soon as the season's over. Unless, maybe it's not important to you. That's fine too. But if you're serious about being a basketball player, you have to invest in your individual skill development.
Yeah, and you have to not only develop those skills, you kind of have some sense of how all of it goes together.
Yeah.
And part of that is just spending time in the off season playing basketball, and maybe working on your skills, maybe with a trainer even, but developing your skills where you can step on and everybody on the court feels okay. Instead of people saying, "Oh no, there's Bill again," and hope he doesn't turn the ball over and that sort of thing. So it's important for you to kind of work on your game so that you can be up to speed and be a positive contributor to your basketball team.
And we've talked about this before too, is that it's not the coach's job or duty to help you become a better individual player.
Yeah.
A coach wants you to show up at their tryouts or first practice as kind of a product,
Yeah,
a
that's
finished
true.
product basically. Yeah. And they are not going to sit there and be like, okay, well, that guy needs to work on his ball handling. Let's have the whole team stop, and we're now going to work on ball handling.
Yeah.
Or that guy really is struggling with his free throw shooting. Okay, a whole team, we're all going to work on. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
Practices for the team.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some minor touch-up stuff that the coach will put together that maybe will touch on those things, but skill development is on you in the off season and in the off time where you're not at practice.
Yeah, that's individual development. You're spending time developing you so that you can step into that role and be productive. And if you're not productive, then that probably is not going to work very well for you either. Now, another thing that I think really is important is don't be afraid to take on all the dirty little details maybe that are out there just to make sure that players and coaches, other players and coaches are seeing that you're willing to step in there and you do all that. You're diving on the floor for balls. You're sprinting up and down the floor. You're defending just like a crazy person. All of that kind of stuff really will help you. And pretty soon, coach say, I really like the way that guy is defending. Let's give him a little time in this game.
Yeah.
And so you get a chance to get in, and all of a sudden, you may be that one little element right there because you play just crazy man defense and you can stop that offensive player, gives you an opportunity to get on the floor when otherwise it might not have been really in the cards for you. Okay?
Yeah. Coaches, don't want and don't take notice of delicate flowers out
Yeah,
there on the
they
court.
don't.
They want players that are diving all over the place, that are going for rebounds. If you think about like these people that maybe not weren't necessarily like huge offensive forces that we still remember today, like Dennis Rodman,
Yeah.
or whoever it may be, but like somebody like that, where they are doing all these little things that aren't necessarily scoring points, but that they have such an impact that that's a Hall of Fame player, and he was not putting up Hall of Fame point numbers,
Yeah.
but he's diving on the ground, he's getting rebounds, he's rebounding against people that are bigger than him. All these things that are the dirty work.
Yeah.
You're not afraid to get on the floor. You're not afraid of a little contact. You're not afraid to hustle. It's the people that are like, don't touch me, don't touch me, don't touch me. Or, they panic when things like that happen.
Yeah.
That does not get you on the coach's kind of, checklist of who they want to work with.
Yeah. I just noticed a comment there from a young man from New Zealand, and he's saying, what are you talking about? What we're talking about is how to get more playing time. And
Yep.
so, you can fall in, or you can go back and pick it up on what we've talked about so far. Okay, the next thing that here we want to talk about is this: work harder than everybody else. Work harder. And because hard work pays off for you, coaches recognize that. Other players recognize that.
Yep.
And pretty soon, if you've got their best point guard frustrated because you're just playing him like a crazy person, then the coaches notice that, okay, we've got to find a place to get this guy on the floor. So that's really important.
Yeah, and if you're doing things if you want to stand out to the coach or whoever, you need to do things that make you stand out. And putting effort where everybody else is here, and if you put effort up here, that makes you stand out to the coach. Then everybody else is like, oh man, we gotta do something about this, because I'm not looking so good next to that guy.
Yeah.
So that brings them up there. So you're elevating your team. That's part of leadership too.
Yeah, it really is. And okay, so
And here, you didn't do this guy here.
okay, one of the things that is key is the fact that
This is so dumb and so little. But
listen
up.
But it is key. One of the things that you want to do is always pay attention. And one of the things that I always tell players who are not getting a chance to play very much, you need to sit next to the coach. Okay. And what you want to do is you're always paying attention. You're listening to what he's saying to players on the floor. You're listening to possibly what he's saying to officials about what's going on the floor. Not that he's ragging on or something like that, but you are interested. You're being interested in what's happening, and that doesn't get missed. Believe me.
Eyes and ears. Yeah.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised what you pick up too, because oftentimes in practice there's things going on and a lot of things going in different directions. You don't maybe hear something coach says, but there you heard it on the sideline. Oh, okay, I get that.
Yeah, and one of the worst things that you can ever do is when the coach has everybody pulled together, they're talking, is if you have a basketball and you're bouncing the basketball, or if you're looking around.
Or you're tossing the ball up and down.
I remember when we went to camps as a kid, this was when, it was very kind of boot campish. It was not like I've seen a lot of the camps and stuff these days, but it was very boot campish. And the counselors and the head coach of all that stuff, the first day that was established that if you were doing anything other than holding the ball on your hip and not looking forward and paying attention, you were going to be running, you were going to be doing push-ups, you were going to be doing things that were not fun, you'd be sent out. That happens a lot too, but you have to have eyes and ears, pay attention, and that makes a big difference. The coach has eyes too.
Yeah.
They are looking at what is going on.
Yeah.
So if they see that they're talking and you're, looking around, they know that.
Yeah.
They're not
or
dumb.
if you look like you're in a daze, oftentimes we have a quick little team meeting, and my eyes are scanning around the group. And I can tell right away when those are tuned in and those are not, because if you're in a daze, I know you're not hearing what we're saying. The other thing is a player who has a basketball in his hand and he's tossing it, or like Casey says, he's dribbling on the floor. That's a no-no. That breaks my concentration. That breaks any coach's concentration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get
All
it
right.
together. Be
All right.
Be kind of adult about this too.
Yeah. Now, the last thing we're going to say, and this may not be the easiest thing to understand, but it is stay engaged during practice. Oftentimes, we have guys who we've got 14 guys on the team possibly, and
They're
so
your buddies. They're
well,
good, having fun.
well, and the other thing is that here we've got a 5-on-5 drill. Maybe we're working on a shell drill on defense, and the other 4 players are standing over on the other side BSing
yeah.
with one another.
Yeah.
They're talking about their girlfriends, what they're going to do after practice, or telling jokes, or whatever it is.
If you have your back to the action, you're in trouble.
If you're not really focused on the action, I know that when I call you in there, you're not going to know what to do. And oftentimes I'll do that. If I see somebody who is really kind of zoned out, engaged in some other activity that's not part of the team, I'll take and bring him in. And then I'm going to be on him. Because if he makes any mistakes, weren't you paying attention? And so one of the things that, like I said,
Coaches will re-explain things and go through things again if you don't get it.
Yeah.
But if you don't get it because you weren't paying attention, that's going to piss them off.
Exactly right. And so staying engaged is so important. And oftentimes what we'll do is if we're on one side of the court, we'll have those guys that are part of the team that are not playing, they're on that same side of the court,
Yep.
and we're standing in between them. And so we know whether they're really focused on what's going on the floor or not.
And here's another one too. And we're going on and on about this, but what makes coaches go crazy is situations like this as well, where you are on the bench and you have an opportunity to come up where the coach wants you to go in, and maybe your first question is, who do I got? Or who am I guarding?
Yeah.
Or where do I go? You've already lost your opportunity at that point.
Yeah.
Because
you're probably in trouble.
Are you paying attention to the game? Who are you subbing in for? It really is something where if you're not paying attention, you don't deserve that opportunity. So get it together. If you're on the bench, you are engaged in the game as well.
Now, a little thing that coaches know, and everybody that coaches any sport probably would attest to this, and that is those players who are not engaged are the ones who go to the very end of the bench.
But they do it themselves, not the coach.
They do it themselves, and they don't want to be close to the coach because they usually have some kind of
It's a social hour.
Well, yeah, and something they got going, and oftentimes they'll go down that in the end of the bench, and they're screaming at defense or the opponent players and stuff like that, and that's in itself is kind of a problem. Okay, I think we've done.
Yeah, but so the point of that is, if you want to play more or be on the coach's radar, sit next to the coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they turn their head,
you're the first person they see.
Yeah. They're not looking at a list of players. They turn and they look. So if you're 5 guys deep,
and you get right for, I'm ready, coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. I mean, that's a thing.
It is.
The other one you have here is, don't give your coach a reason not to like you.
Yeah.
So don't be a jerk. Don't be entitled.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Stay engaged.
Yeah.
Just all of that is so positive to help you get more playing time, and we hope you do.
Yeah, and if you want to have more information on things that are really solid, kind of mental things that you can do, go watch our How to Make the Team videos, because we talk about things that coaches are paying attention to. And just because it's about how to make the team in that video, it still applies in how to get more playing time too.
Exactly right.
Okay?
All of them are good. Okay.
All right, so
We kind of went to town on that one today,
yeah,
Casey.
well, it's important, and we hope it helps you guys. But looks like we've been getting a bunch of questions and stuff in the comments. We are going to shut down that topic. If you have more stuff about that you want to talk about, let us know, and we'll get back to that. Make sure that you guys are following us on all our social media stuff. We're Shot Science everywhere. Check out shotscience.com. Our question of the week.
Our question that we have every week, and that is, where are you from in the world?
Yep. We want to know where you guys are from. Are you from South Africa? Are you from Uganda? Are you from Uruguay? Or
Lithuania. Okay, we know we have followers in Lithuania. That's not a joke.
Well, yeah, Lithuania is like
they are a
big time basketball
hotbed.
place.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we want to know where you guys are from. Yeah, we got Poria Idal from Iran. We have Eric Granath from Sweden. We have Reg Carr from Chicago. We have Adam Muhammad from Tampa, Florida. We have the Flipsy from Texas. We have a bunch of people from that said before we got into this.
Yeah.
Let's go to the top here. We have first name, last name from Toledo, Ohio. We have Gibrunas Boston from Brazil. Let's see here. We have Bulldogs. What's up from sunny northern Michigan? Cool.
Does the sun shine in northern Michigan?
Oh, I'm sure it does. Okay, so let's see. Do we have a few more? We have Evan Stolz from Iowa. You have Shubham Katyal from Texas. We have Pro Gamers 1213 from California. We should also say that we are from Santa Cruz, California. Yeah. So if you want to know where we are in the world, that's where we are. Andre Sims, San Francisco. Cool. You're not too far from us. The Flipsy says, I'm from Pluto. I think that's wrong because I think you told us that you were from Texas. I guess that's close.
Maybe it's Pluto, Texas.
Yeah. Petra is from Slovakia, but living in the UK.
All right.
Omar Tade is from Mumbai in India. Cool. Awesome to see you guys. Programmers 1213 is from Salinas. That's just down the road. We play games there a lot.
We do.
Okay, so we're going to get into answering your guys' questions. Letting us know where you guys are from. That is super cool. And if you could go tell your friends and family that are into basketball to check out Team Shot Science, we would love to grow the team, especially in your little town. You could be the street team. Oh, we lost our stream. God darn it. Swear. Oh boy. Conversation. This is absolute garbage. Our connection keeps dropping out. We would love it if you guys could help us get more people back on because we lost everybody.
Yeah.
So help us get a few more people back and we can keep going. All right, let's get back into answering some of these questions. And if it's, maybe you guys have to watch these later, but hopefully you can help us get some more people back. Okay, we're starting to get people back. Okay, let's see here. Reg Carr is asking, how do you guard people who dribble fast? Well, number one, don't let them get the ball in the first place.
That really makes it difficult for them if they can't get their hands on the basketball.
And number two, you want to stay in front of them.
Yeah.
You don't want to reach. That is a great way to get beat off the dribble.
Yep.
But you want to beat them to the spot, and you want to stay in front of them.
One of the things that we also teach is we like a squared up feet on defense rather than have one ahead of the other. What happens, and I don't remember exactly when this kind of started to take place, probably 20, 30 years ago, but when you have a foot forward, teams were starting to attack that front foot. And when they did, it causes to open up in order to go. And usually what happened is that the defense or the offense then got a little bit of advantage. So that should help you. It takes good footwork.
Yeah. Guys, please help us get more people back. We literally dropped our connection, and now we don't have anybody really here.
Okay, we'll keep talking anyway.
Let's see. Let's see. A lot of people that are following each other on Instagram. That's cool, I guess. This one is from Azolpla, who says, I'm recovering from patellar tendonitis. What kind of workout should I do to get back into things? From Pennsylvania. You should do what your doctor says first.
Exactly right, yeah.
It's not good to ask people that aren't medical professionals, that aren't the people that are, evaluating you what to do.
Yeah.
You really need to take the right steps to recover and recuperate. But, we would say check out things like when you're at the right time and place, check out things like our vertical jump videos and the vertical jump handbook and our vertical jump series on our website, shotscience.com. But again, listen to your doctor. Yeah. That's really the best information to do. This one is from Andres Sims, who says he's from San Francisco. What are the tips or books I can read to increase my basketball IQ or quickness to read the floor? I think the best thing to do is really get experience playing in games and then watch a bunch of basketball. Try to watch basketball that is of good quality. I think there's a lot of stuff out there that probably isn't the best stuff to watch to get an idea of that stuff.
Yeah, what really would help is that if you go to watch games, is try to sit next to a coach. And coaches talk. They talk with one another. Maybe they talk to you and they explain what's going on, and that can help develop your IQ or understanding of the game as well. The other thing is just watching games and watching them more in depth and listen to the people who are announcing the game. Some of those people who are announcing the games, especially some of the pro games, have had a lot of years as background as coaches, and they give you a lot of those little intricacies that are going on the floor,
Yeah.
and you watch for them. Oh yeah, I never realized that, and so
I,
that helps too.
I think it's also good too to take everything as a grain of salt too, because it doesn't matter if Jeff Van Gundy's saying this and then Mark Jackson saying that. You need to take everything as a grain of salt and evaluate it from a kind of logical, critical thinking approach.
Right. Some
Because
of the things that those guys say, they're tongue in cheek, meaning they are just meant to be kind of funny little things.
well, that and everything is experiential too, and so you can have a bias because you grew up in this area and that's how basketball was played, or
right.
this is how you played basketball, so you assume that's how everybody else played. You know, there's so many things that can be a little bit biased. So
Just reading about the game is not nearly as good as going and watching or participating in the game to develop your IQ.
and I think that too. When it comes to like basketball books, it gets to a point where it gets obsolete so fast. It's almost like technology. It's like things evolve and change so quickly.
That's really true.
So something that was written 5 or 10 years ago, I mean, that's almost completely obsolete. But I think it's good to follow people on social media and stuff that have really good insights. You know, like Jay Billis or Alan Stein or Drew Hanlon or maybe us. Maybe. People that you respect their opinion on, that kind of stuff. I think that's good to follow. I think it's good to follow people in that sense because that's more up to date than a book that might have been written.
Well, and usually you can understand it a little more clearly if it's verbal rather than the fact that you are just reading in a book.
And you can also ask those people questions. Yeah. There's a chance that Jay Billis might write you back. And that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So, it's always good to kind of stay up to date with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Petra is over here asking if anybody has Instagram. Then it kicked off a bunch of people following each other.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. Please follow us too. We're on Instagram as well. We post some stuff yesterday. Some stuff will go up today. So please give us a follow on Instagram. We were just Shot Science.
All right.
Let's see here. This is from Evan Stoltz, who says, "My coach will only focus on the starting guys. I'm stuck guarding the best player on the team, and I don't know how to represent myself as a better player to the coach. I don't get many offensive opportunities."
That's really an interesting comment that you've made there, Evan, and probably fairly typical too, is that sometimes coaches get stuck on just those main guys because they're going to be playing most of the time. But the thing is, you want to take those elements that we talked about earlier today and try to put them into your in total that I'm looking for, interaction with your coach, and don't be afraid to step up and coach. What do you think about that defense? But work to understand, work to sell yourself as much as possible, and just be so tough. He cannot ignore you.
Yeah, okay? and here's the other thing too, is that you need to separate yourself from these other people and from your evaluation of that situation. Yeah. If you're sitting there worried about, those 5 guys, they just get it all, I don't get anything, and blah, 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 you start to have a negative impact on yourself. You should just forget about that. Who cares about that situation? Focus on what you have control of and what you can do. And that's the stuff we were talking about before. Yeah. Those are all solid tips. The stuff from How to Make the Team video, those are all solid tips. Yep. But you need to have a positive turn in your kind of approach if you want to have a positive return on it, right?
Yeah, and if you are doing a great job on defense on one of their better players, it probably does not go unnoticed. You may think it does, but it probably doesn't go unnoticed. So I just keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, this is from Bulldogs, who I believe is from Chicago, who says, 13-year-old son shoots from chin with chicken wing, trying to raise set point to the right eye, can do higher set point from 12 feet to shoot longer. He lowers set point back to chin to get enough power. Any ideas? Yeah, yes. Lots of ideas.
Yeah. Number one,
So
Hang on. There's
13-year-old shoots with a
and he
from
shoots
chin to chicken wing.
the chicken wing, having that arm, elbow out, needs to get that elbow in and underneath the ball. And one of the things that we teach is that we want to have that elbow of the shooting hand pointed toward your shooting foot. So if you're a right-hander, that elbow is going to be pointed toward the foot, but not tucked in tight, because what happens when you tuck that in and try to get the elbow too far in, the whole shoulder tightens up.
It's not ergonomic, and it will
Right,
create tension.
and just the way our skeleton is located or works is that if I just pull my arms up, the elbow hangs out a little bit. That's exactly where you want the ball.
I mean,
The further it steps out this way and becomes that chicken wing you're talking about, the shot will be flat.
Yeah, because it's the crossbow effect. That's
Yeah,
just the
yeah.
way that it's going to go.
Yeah,
You
okay,
can't
now-
elevate up. Here's the other thing too, is that I think that a lot of times maybe your son doesn't understand why it's important.
Yeah.
So you have to explain why it's important to do these things.
Well-
Not just you should do this, because that doesn't really give them any real understanding of what and why.
Well, yeah, and the other thing that I talk to all of my students about this as we kind of get them started in shooting, and this is one of the things I tell them. I want you to know how to do this, and I want you to know why you do it that way.
Yeah.
And when you know why you do it, you can analyze a shot pretty quickly. And if the shot is flat consistently, it's probably because your elbow is out, or that you have your elbow bent here into a V configuration rather than L. And you know, one of the things too is that understanding where the power source is. Your power source, every one of us delivers 100 or can deliver 100% of our power. Okay, and mine might be different than yours, but we can deliver that. And our shoulders and arms typically are going to represent about 20% of the power that we use for shooting. The rest of it is all about guidance. We want to tell the ball where the heck to go. And when we add extra arm, extra rotation, or power to the arms, the shot will not be very accurate.
Yeah.
And so all of our power for shooting, or most all of it, comes from our midsection down. Our core muscle groups are really important. Our butts are really important because those are just big muscles. The quads and hamstrings and the calves. That's where our power comes from. Oftentimes, in fact, I've got one student now that we're struggling with that. He's just shooting with the upper body and he can't hit anything.
Yeah.
As soon as we had him bend his legs and he's starting to get down a little bit, now he's starting to get some power and starting to work better for him. One of the things that is happening too is that he would just break his legs, his knees just a little bit. Okay, and then I said, well, look, we want to take and bend those knees a little bit more. If we bend the knees another like this much, which is about 3-4 inches, you'd be surprised how much more power you get out of that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll help you.
Yeah, you want your lower body to be the power source, and you want your upper body to be the delivery system. I think a lot of what you're talking about with your son is you've got to get the right mechanics in place and do a lot of repetitive kind of quality work on that.
Go to our videos and you'll see all of that.
And you're talking about changing set points from higher or lower. Wrong thing to do. You want to have the same shot from every different spot.
Yep.
You are getting more power from your legs, but everything else stays the same.
Yep.
And that's how you create accuracy, is through that repeatability. So if you want more information on that, go check out shotscience.com. We have our all access area there, and we break down shooting in a very specific detail. We show demonstrations, we have drills. I think that would probably really help you and your son figure out how to get around that.
And it also talks about why you do it that way.
Andre Sims says, thanks guys for the tips. Go Warriors.
Go Warriors, you got it.
Game 2 today, right?
Yep, game 2.
Let's see here. Petra is asking, how can I get a scholarship in the U.S.? That's we talk about this all the time, so we're not going to get into it very deeply right now. You need to go look at some of our older videos where we talk to coaches and stuff about that.
So some of these videos that we're doing, we're doing those on Sunday too. I think. Some of the early ones.
Okay, you're asking about how to get noticed by U.S. coaches. Okay, so you need to put together your highlight reel, and on that reel, it's not just your great plays. That's great, but you also need a half of your best basketball play. So you playing without any interruptions of your best basketball play. Then if you can attach like some testimonials from your coach or whoever that says, oh, Petra is awesome. She, is doing all these great things, blah, blah, blah. That is super important. And then identify the coaches and the schools and things that you are interested in that are realistic. Maybe a few outliers that you're just, you would love to try, and you can send it to those people. Send it to their coaches. Sometimes it's good to send it to the assistant coaches or the people that are kind of not necessarily the head coach. But that's really how you get on the radar. But you got to send it out to a crap ton of them. You can't just think, oh, I'm going to pick my two favorites and I'm going to get accepted by both of them, and then I'm going to have a wonderful decision I have to make. Doesn't usually work that way.
Well, of the different levels of competition, college competition in this country, there are probably 2,000 schools, including junior colleges, NAIA, and all levels that you can really look at. And I would take and look at maybe this. Since you're from Europe, take a look at the map of the United States and where would I like to go? Maybe I'd like to go to Florida and play there. Okay, maybe I'd like to take and go to the Midwest and play in Kansas or Nebraska or someplace like that. Or I want to go to the West Coast. And so the West Coast being California, et cetera. And just go to those coaches that are located there in different levels. And if you don't know what the levels are, look them up. Let me just give you a quick little run through. Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, then go to NAIA, Division 1, Division 2, and I think there's even another level below the NAIA, and I don't remember what that one is.
Or junior college or whatever.
And the junior colleges.
But here's the thing too, is that you will not get responses from 99% of that or more.
Yep.
But it's the opportunity that you may have somebody check it out and they're like, oh wow, that's somebody I would like to bring in. And a lot of times there's like an incentive for coaches to bring in people from other areas of the world as well.
Yep.
And it's what was I just gonna say? Oh boy, it was good too.
Yeah. Well,
one of the things I was going to say is that don't listen to people who always say, oh, you should go to these tournaments, you should play on this club team, if you go to this showcase. A lot of times that costs a lot of money, and most of the time, I will say 99.999% of the time, scouting coaches that are going to those showcases know exactly who they're watching when they go to that. Right. They don't care about anybody else. There is almost no time where somebody just comes out of the woodwork and they're like, wow, where did that person come from? I've never heard of them. Yeah, in this day and age, it does not happen.
Well, because most all of those guys get around the whole country, the whole United States, and play in tournaments where college coaches maybe have a chance to see them.
Okay. It looks like we have a Tracy McGrady fan, but You Love T-Mac says, how can I drive in and finish without being stripped?
Learn how to protect the basketball. Who's stripping you? Sometimes it is a person who is on help defense. Sometimes it's somebody who is guarding you. Like Andre Iguodala is awesome at that. You bring the ball down low and you bring it up, and he's going to clean your hands with it. It's going to be gone. So you have to learn how to protect the basketball as you go to the basket. One of the things that helps a whole bunch too is try to initiate contact with the defender, and by using that contact, if I'm here and I just give Casey a little bit going to the basket, what happens is it creates a little space and gives you an opportunity to get that shot off.
It has to be subtle though. It's not something where you
can't knock them down like in the NBA.
Okay, this one is from the Flipsy, who says, is there a reason I get hit so much going to the rack? It happens so much that it has lowered my confidence to drive in. Okay, you should want contact when you're attacking the rim. Yeah. Because that is a disadvantage for the defense.
Yep. And you hardly ever get called unless you're really
unless you're really obvious and
like
overly
LeBron
aggressive.
In that last game against the Warriors, he ran over KD and a couple other guys, and they didn't call it on those. But if you can be really subtle about it, shows almost never call you on that.
Yeah, but he's asking why he gets hit. Okay, so hold on, we got dropped again.
Okay.
I'm going to end it here right away because this is stupid.
Bummer.
All right. Guys, sorry. We're back.
Woo!
We're
All
going to
right.
try to get through this. Okay. Our video output is low. That is not good to hear. But I will just say too that contact is good. If they're fouling you or reaching in or whatever, that's great. Don't let it affect your confidence. Just, you have to be aggressive back and go up and focus on your finish. And if they foul you, it's going to be a foul against them. No reason to panic. It's good. This one is from Reg Carr. Says, is it okay if I barely jump on my shot?
Hey, you know that the elevation of your shot is not so important as you might think. It's great if you could jump 48 inches and it was comfortable to do it.
Off the floor,
No.
and he's one of the greatest shooters that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Same thing with Steph Curry. Steph Curry is not jumping to the height that like a Ray Allen would jump, and they both are the best shooters that have played in the NBA.
Yeah.
So it's really about what is comfortable. People that try to out jump their defender, that is a sign of a bad shot.
Yeah.
So learn to create space if that's an issue.
So you can remain relaxed on the shot.
Evan Stoltz, we actually answered your question, so you don't need to ask that one again. Just watch the stream again. We actually answered that one. Let's see here. Let's go back a little ways. Okay, hold on. We're trying to get through some of these and see if we've missed some people. Aaron Montgomery is asking, when you shoot, should you look at the rim or follow the ball? Look at the rim.
Yeah, we really teach everybody to take and put their eyeballs on the middle of that hoop. That's really where you want the ball to go. Over the years, coaches have instructed players to focus on the back rim, focus on the front rim. Well, if you hit those spots, more than likely it's not going to go in. And so what you want to do is to take and get a spot in the middle. And some people will say you can't see that. Well, you can't see it, but it's an orange rim that's got this white net hanging off of it.
Imagine the bullseye in the middle of it.
Yeah, and you just want to put it right in there. So that's what you're shooting for.
They're asking you, though, but should they follow the ball? Like when they're shooting, should they lift the
No,
ball? That
no.
is a huge mistake.
No, some players do.
But the thing is, they've built up the muscle memory and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's not the optimized, fully effective way to do it. If you are throwing a baseball, are you watching the ball come out of your hands, or are you focusing on the target that you're trying to hit? If you're playing football, are you focusing on where the ball is, or are you focusing on the receiver you're trying to hit? It makes zero sense to focus on the object you're trying to deliver and not the target you're trying to hit.
Exactly. What is that one there from Adam?
You got to read it. I don't know.
Okay. How to develop a good read for shooting while guarded, aka shooting without a conscience.
Like Damian Lillard.
Okay. Well, one thing that you can figure that Damian Lillard spends thousands and thousands of hours for his whole basketball career trying to improve himself and create situations on how to get the ball off when he's being guarded. And Curry's the same way. Thompson's the same way. Durant, all of those people who can really shoot the basketball learn how to create space so they can get that shot off. And
it comes from experience, and it comes from knowing what's a good shot.
Yeah, it
how
does.
to create space.
That whole thing there has to do mostly about getting enough space where you can get your shot off and not have it contested.
Okay, there's Adam and Aaron are talking about, the thing about following the ball. Then why do Curry and a lot of NBA players follow the ball? I've seen it in videos. Here's the thing. There are people out there that are saying that this is the way to do that, and it is ridiculous, number one. And number two is that you will see videos of clips and things that people put together where that happens. I mean, that's just like saying that you can only do it this way if you want to have this outcome. That's not true. There's so many ways to get to that outcome. And a lot of these people, like Steph Curry or whoever, they have built up so much muscle memory that they probably could shoot from anywhere on the floor, not look at it, and know that it's going to go in or whatever. So that's not necessarily why you should do it. I think it's so backwards for people to think, well, if the NBA players do this, I should do that.
Yeah.
That's like thinking, well, if Jimi Hendrix plays guitar this way, I'm going to learn to play guitar like Jimi Hendrix, even though it's the harder way to learn, and it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
They put all this effort into getting to where they are. You can do that too, but you need to build it from these fundamental aspects.
Yeah.
And if we can't convince you that looking at the object you're delivering as opposed to looking at the target makes more sense, okay. I think you've got other things that are clouding your mind.
Yeah.
So, and I could actually, if I wanted to take you guys and tell you that NBA players do this thing that is actually something that they almost never do, I could actually put together clips of that, and I could tell you this is what NBA players do, and you would believe that because I put this clip show together.
You could see it. Yeah.
Yeah. So be wary of what other people are saying about this stuff. If it doesn't sound like it's logical, it's probably not. So do you see other sports where this is happening, where people are watching the ball as they're throwing it or whatever? It just doesn't make any sense.
No,
It's like a batter if they're watching the bat and not the ball come in.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that Casey brings up from time to time about this is that when you're playing darts, do you take and throw the dart and watch the dart on its way to the spot, or you locate that spot and that's where I'm trying to put the dart?
Yeah.
You know,
This is what you have control of is your body, and
Yeah.
you should have done the work to make all of these muscles do exactly what you want them to do. And the target is something that changes because you have to move in and out, and you're going to be in different spots. So that's what you need to be worried about. This stuff should all take care of itself because you've done the work for it, right?
And there's no question that players like Curry and Thompson, from time to time, not as a general rule, that their eyes follow the ball. I've seen it myself, but you also find that they put a focus on that basket. Same thing with KD. You know, their focus goes to that basket because that's where they're trying to put the basketball.
Okay, so that's going to do it for us today, you guys. But we want to ask you our questions first. So don't get out of here before you tell us where you guys are from.
Yep.
Where in the world are you guys from? We want to know.
Yep.
And go out and tell your friends and family in that area that you are Team Shot Science and that they should be too.
Yep.
So where are you from? And number two, what is a good question for number two? Let's see. Number two is, what is one thing that you do as a basketball player that sets you apart from other basketball players?
Yes,
because that kind of goes in with our topic for today.
Sure, it really does.
So what is one thing that you do that sets you apart from other basketball players? That could be, I'm really good at scoring points, or it could be I'm a great leader, or whatever. Let us know. Where are you from? What is your one thing that sets you apart?
Right.
Make sure you guys follow us on all of our social media stuff. We are Shot Science everywhere. And whether that's Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, we're on all that stuff. Make sure you check out shotscience.com. Get a Shot Science shirt or any Shot Science gear and post it on social media. Hashtag Team Shot Science. We feature people that do that all the time because we love to see you guys wearing this stuff and working on your game.
Yeah.
Okay? So thank you guys for being here. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but we'll see you next time, 1 p.m. Pacific time on a Sunday.
Yep.
Go Warriors. Bye.
Go